Then we're going to talk about the third part, which is supporting points. This is the part that really shows that you understand the text, meaning you need to point to specific references. You need to cite specific references, line numbers, paragraph numbers, page numbers, act scene, and line numbers. This is where you do that. What journal, what author, that's where that comes in at this point. Have adequate supporting points. You want to make sure you have enough supporting points to make it credible for the reader, believable, understandable. Fully explain and present each of your supporting points. Optionally, if you're dealing with a research paper, include credible sources to improve your presentation. You don't always have other sources, outside sources, but you definitely want to include them if you're doing a research paper. That's the basic definition. You need outside sources other than your read and your interpretation. How do we have adequate supporting points to fully explain or present our information? I would first say go through and look for and address unanswered questions, questions that you come up with or that you see that other people have or that come up in a class discussion or general conversation. Look for those and then start looking for outside sources to provide you with those answers or those responses. Use the pie strategy for supporting point explanations. Now let's look at what the pie strategy actually is. Pie strategy is a three-part strategy where first we present the background and context for a supporting point. This could include establishing the credibility of a cited source. It can be a single sentence or it could be merged in with other sentences. You just want to make sure that you provide that background information. Then include or introduce that supporting point. Actually have the cited source, whether it's a direct quote or it's a paraphrase or summary, just provide it. That's the including that. And you want to vary those in the paper so that it's not always only direct quotes and only paraphrase and only summary. You want to vary that and lean more on the summary than the paraphrase and the direct quote to make sure that your thoughts are still coming forward and the summaries are simply supporting your thoughts. Explain how the supporting point ties to your topic sentence and thesis. This is a critical aspect of the supporting points in your papers. If you just throw in a lot of information and don't explain how it ties into your thesis, then the reader may not understand why you're giving this information. So this is a critical item in providing adequate and appropriate supporting points. Now, what about differences for summary, paraphrase, and direct quotations? Just want to point out that these are different ways of citing and referencing different text. When we think of summary, it's normally 1 to 3 sentences that let the reader know the main idea, but tend to specifically be stated in a way that is always relates to the thesis. So when you provide that summary, you're going to also typically tie it in that pie method to the P part of the pie. You're going to explain how, or you're going to provide some context for how it fits in with your information related to your thesis or topic sentence. And then paraphrases vary in length based on the original text. So the longer the text, the longer the paraphrase in general. And they provide the key points of the original text. And they should always have the original tone, the original points provided of the text, the original intent. If you change the original intent that the author had, then you're not paraphrasing correctly, and this truly does fall under plagiarism. Direct quotations provide the original words of the text as phrases, parts of sentences, or blocks of paragraphs. Writers use the original wording for direct quotations to provide a context and power that could not be adequately provided through summary or paraphrase. So you want to use direct quotations when the original text is just much more powerful than any rewording, paraphrasing, or summary could provide for the reader. Again, quick overview of what was covered in sufficient and varied supporting points. Have adequate supporting points, fully explain, present supporting points. Optionally, if it's a research paper, include outside credible sources to improve your presentation.